Hi, welcome to this video on composite area. You have in your paper this picture of a stop sign, and the stop sign is a polygon which has 8 sides, so stop sign is actually an octagon. But if we had to find the area of that octagon, we don't have a formula for the area of an octagon. So one strategy when you have a shape that you don't have a formula for is to break it up into pieces so that you can find the area of the different pieces, and then you're going to put it back together. So when this person who did this cut up this octagon, they made this one square here in the center, and then took the square from the center here and redrew it over here and labeled the dimensions. So it would be the same as this side here and this side here. So that's why it's 12.4 by 12.4. There's only one of those. And then that caused, going straight up, they broke it up into these rectangles, and then went straight over here and made this rectangle B, and this rectangle B, and this rectangle B, and they're all congruent. And so since we know this is 12.4 and this is 12.4, and so from one end to the other is 30 inches, they broke off, they subtracted out the 12.4 and figured out that that means that these right here are 8.8 each. So that's why B has the dimensions of 8.8 and 12.4. Now there's 4 of those rectangles. Then finally that leaves off these little tiny pieces, and these are going to be isosceles right triangles, because this side here is 8.8 and this side here is 8.8, and we don't need to know the hypotenuse because these are perpendicular, so the base is 8.8 and the height is 8.8. And there's 4 triangles like that that are congruent. And they redrew it over here, which is a good strategy to redraw the shapes when you break them up. So then the person found the area of each of those shapes and then added it back. So this is the area of the square, this is the area of the rectangle, and this is the area of the triangle. And they're going to add them all back in. Why are they multiplying by 4 here? Because there's 4 of those shapes. But why not multiply the square by 4? Because there's only one square. So you can fill in the questions then on your own. Just, it's a way to kind of think through the problem. Let's look at the next example. So now here's another figure that we don't have a formula for up here in the corner. And so it has been divided up into different shapes. So then it asks, how could you divide it up? Because if you look at it, this shape here is not a shape. So this almost looks like a square, but it's got a little bite taken out of it. So you would have to account for that bite if you were going to try to use it as a square. You might have to divide up this shape differently. But the question is, how would you divide it up? So pause the video and consider that. So one way we can consider dividing up this shape is just drawing a diagonal line here, right, and cutting it on the line of symmetry and breaking it up into 2 congruent parallelograms. And so I'm going to kind of try to grab this here. Yep, there we go. And show you what I mean. I'm going to blow it up a little bit and turn it. See, I made it into 2 congruent parallelograms, and now this parallelogram right here, I can find the area of that. Maybe it'd help to see it if I look at it this way. Whoops. Hold on. Okay, how about now? Now maybe you can see that the parallelogram has a base of 10.5 and a height of 7.5. And the other parallelogram would be congruent to it. And so now I can find the area of each of those parallelograms and then add them together. So here I found the area of the parallelogram, and then I would need, that's one of them, so you would need to add them together to find the total area. So number 7 says refer to the figure on the right. Show how you can divide the figure on the right into polygons whose area you know how to find. And then sketch and figure out the dimensions. So there are lots of different ways to get this, and it would be interesting to see what you come up with. I'm going to show you one way that I did it, where I'm breaking it up, and then I just see what you think. Okay. So I decided to break it up into these 3 different shapes, and going from the figure, the blue here, the blue one, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. It says 7, but that's because it's 7 all the way down, but you have to subtract off that 2. So it's actually 5. And then this piece here is 2. So 5 by 2. That's the first rectangle. The second rectangle, don't be deceived and think this is 7, because you got to subtract these 2 pieces away. So 7 minus 2 is 5, minus 2 is 3, and you can count 1, 2, 3. There's 3 here, and this side is 2. And then the triangle is 2 by 2. It's like half a square. So the base is 2 and the height is 2. So now I have these different figures, and I need to find the area of each one. So I'm going to do that next. So I found the area of each of the shapes. The largest rectangle is 10, and then the smaller rectangle is 6, and each of the triangles have an area of 2. So I need to be thinking about this as I'm creating my problem. I need to add each of the areas. But for the triangle, there's actually 2 of them. So I'm going to do 2 times that area. And then I'm going to add all those together, and I get a total of 20 centimeters squared. Now, it'd be interesting to see if you divided it differently, if you got the same area, maybe in a different strategy that would be better or shorter, or maybe like you wanted to break it up into more pieces. That's fine too. So from here, I'm going to ask you to try the practice problems. If you're finding issue with the fact that you have fill in the blank and you're not really sure what to fill in there, just do your best to answer the question. Some of them are multiple choice, so be aware. Or like this one here, this second one says which one does not represent the area, so you're looking for the one that's not. And the answers will be posted, so I do want to encourage you in that so that you can check to see how you're doing. Here's this and second page. Again, you're just trying the example problems. If you notice in number 4, it's saying that write the area of each region as designed, so they're already telling you the different ways they broke it up. So they broke it up into this triangle as A. So you're going to find the area of that triangle and put it inside this space here, and just fill in the blank and then find the total area. And then one other thing I wanted to point out to you is on number 5, they're finding the area and then the cost. How much does he need to budget? And then so you figure out the answer and you choose from the multiple choice. And then it tells you here that Claire chose B for the answer. What did she do wrong? That tells you that B is not the right answer. So if you end up getting B, you need to think about trying that problem differently. But then that's where you would tell the actual answer and then why you think Claire got the wrong answer. So anyway, the answers should be posted here shortly, and then you can compare those with what you have and then see if you have any questions. Thanks.